Hello guys, welcome to another session. So in this video we are going to talk about mains answer writing. Okay, so the prelims is over. Now you are into the next phase, that's the mains phase, the most important phase, because now you are already in that top 10,000. Now we need to be into that 2,500. So see, here why this lecture is important is because this is the period where you have already learned a lot during your prelims. Now we need to consolidate that knowledge and we need to get into some new topics also. You need to look into your optionals, you need to look into your ethics, and you need to focus on your essay. Apart from that, whatever that you have studied so far, you need to consolidate and you need to write an answer in 7 minutes. So we need to discuss how you are going to practically write an answer in 7 minutes without missing any points, right? So you have to compress your thoughts, you have to follow that proper momentum in each of the answers. Each of the answers should have the quality. It's not that first couple of answers you will be writing with good quality and then that quality starts slowing down. So what we will do is I'll be discussing 6 important strategies, or the setup you can say, or we can say the template that I'll discuss, so that you can blindly follow that and you will be able to write very good answers. For example, the one which we will be discussing, like the PDTU setup. So for certain questions, right? Similarly, depending upon the demand of the question, we will have certain templates. So if that is there with you, then the problem of the coherence or the flow that you are missing in your answer can be solved to an extent, and you will get a ready-made 5 to 6 points to write in any answers also. So that's actually the agenda for today's session, and this is one of the problems that we need to address here. The main issue is the time management. Like, you need to write an answer in 7 minutes, 10 marker in 7 minutes, 15 marker if it is in 9 to 10 minutes, and if it is 20 marker, 13 to 14 minutes. So this is the problem that we need to address here when it comes to the mains. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with the way you're going to use the templates. I start with one of the powerful templates here. So in this, I'm planning to discuss 6 strategies or the techniques where you can write your answers in a proper way. So let's start with this PDTU template, and this is mainly applicable for questions related to government schemes. So if you get a question, you see a question, couple of questions you may get from paper 1 and paper 2, so you will, or even in paper 3 also, so it won't be repetitive. So that's the reason why you can follow this template, and PDTU template, I'll explain what is it and I'll show you the demonstration with a couple of examples as well. So once you follow this, there will be ready-made 5 to 6 points, and you won't face any problem of remembering things also, because most of the things that I'm going to discuss here can be replicated exactly in the same way as well. Okay, so if you talk about P, it's about planning. Any government policies you take, there is a first stage, that is planning, and then the targeting part. I'll explain this in detail, just let me go through this, and then there will be the third part, that is the delivery part, and then who's going to use, right? So these are the areas that we need to cover in this particular question. So any questions which are related to government schemes, policies, just follow this approach. So what we will do in this is, see, every scheme start with this planning phase. So in that, you talk about these dimensions. For example, your answer will have, see, if you follow this template, your answer will have 10 to 12 points, out of which you will be getting 5 to 6 solid points, which are going to be useful for any questions. Okay, so like these are the 10 points that I will be covering if you're following this framework, like data accuracy, resource storage, state coordination, beneficiary identification, inclusion exclusion errors, technological issue, bank account related issue, internet tech related issue, and the corruption leakages, awareness related aspect, account activation, actual benefit usage, and all these. These are the areas that I'm supposed to cover in that particular question. So once I know that these are the areas that I need to cover, I have the ready-made answer also, and solid 5 to 6 points I'll be getting. So let's look into this. When we talk about data accuracy, the question is, do we know exactly who the beneficiaries are? So that is going to be your first point that you're going to start with. Okay, and then the resource allocation means, do we have the fund and the manpower to run the scheme, to execute it? Okay, and then when it comes to the state coordination, it has to be implemented at the ground level, right? It is to be implemented at the state level. So to what extent the center and state are aligned for the implementation of this policy. So these are 3 things that you will be covering when it comes to planning. So this is how you'll be starting with. For example, when we talk about direct benefit transfer. So here when I say planning, so this involves identifying where the fund should go, who's the actual beneficiary, and you need to ensure database like Aadhars are getting updated, the bank accounts details and other things, right? And the state also, the coordination of the states. So this is the first part, PDTU, P, planning. Now let's quickly, again I have to cover 6 techniques that I'll be doing in 30-35 minutes, that's the agenda. So some of them I'll quickly discuss because I presume that you already know this, okay? Because that examples that I have given to you, these are something which you are studying right from the first day of your preparation. I don't think anyone here attending this session without knowing DBT, right? So that's the kind of assumption also I take, that's the leverage that I'm taking to complete this lecture in time. I hope you got that point. So if you are absolutely a beginner, then it may not work the way I'm, planning. So when it comes to targeting, so that's the second step, right? Once the planning is done, then we need to target the people. So here comes the beneficiary identification. Are we really reaching to the intended beneficiary? So here you need to talk about the inclusion errors and the exclusion errors. So you might have included ineligible people, they are getting the benefit of the scheme. At the same time, what is more important is exclusion errors. Are the deserving people are getting excluded from getting the benefit of that scheme? So this is something which we need to discuss. So that's what I mean by targeting part. So example, like if you talk about these schemes, the targeting errors that can lead to poor coverage or even the misuse of funds. So I hope you are getting that ready-made points, right? These are ready-made points, just write it down over there. Any questions? Sorry guys. Okay, now coming to the third and most important one, delivery part. So the actual delivery of the benefits to the beneficiaries, the benefit of all these services. So here are the common issue. These are common issue. Any questions, any government scheme related question, any policy related question, this has to be replicated exactly in the same way. You don't want to add anything beyond that. So these are the same common issues as well, right? Technological challenges, lack of internet and digital access in rural areas, right? So bank account issues, many of the beneficiaries don't have the functional account. If there is a functional account, it might not be linked account. So that issues are there, you can talk about that. The last mile connectivity. So are the services reaching to the remote areas who are in real need of it, right? And then most importantly, I don't think that I need to talk about this much, corruption and leakages. So whether the intermediaries are misusing the fund or they are diverting the benefits to some other people. So these are the things that we need to keep a check on. So these are the common issues and that you can add under the heading of delivery. Okay, so DBT again can face delivery issues if there is no functional banking infrastructure in the villages. That's not going to be a successful venture, and that's actually the problem also. Solution also we can write. So my idea is you get this kind of question without thinking too much of too much or wasting too much of time in thinking. You are going to write things like ready-made. These are pre-prepared templates which you can follow, right? So coming to the last one, usage. There's a final stage, there's the actual stage by the beneficiaries. So here the concern is awareness. Again, there's a common one which you can write in anything. So whether the people know whether they are eligible or not, right? There are beneficiaries. So the scheme is intended to benefit this section, but that person really know that there is such a kind of scheme by the government that he is supposed to get that benefit, and that is taking him out of poverty or giving that kind of benefit to him. Whether he know that, that's ultimately very important, right? Again, access. Are they able to use the services? Like whether they have the operational bank account and all those things. Without that, how they are going to use that service, but even if it is DBT, right? And then sustainability. Are they using it regularly or just once? So some politicians went over there, enrolled them to some schemes and got the benefit first time, but after that it might be diverted or given to some other person. So they might be getting it for the first time just for the sake of maintaining things in the paper. After that, whether they are getting it or not, that's what I mean by sustainability over here. Again, if you look at Jan Dhan account, they might exist, but it remain inactive due to lack of financial literacy. So don't you think that when I discussed about these points, you are going to get ready-made at least 5 points you can write from here. Even in the last 2 slides, you got 3 points here, you got 4 points here. These are something which is common in everywhere. And then the first 2 points that I've discussed, that planning and targeting part, that is also common. So I don't think that you will be facing any problem now with respect to questions which are related to the government policies. So this is the kind of templates that we need to have for each type of questions because we know the common themes that they are asking. So we will be preparing accordingly. Okay, so one of the common theme is this. Okay, now I have an example also. You talk about this example. So this I have actually given for you to write an answer on this. So you critically examine the effectiveness of Ayushman Bharat in achieving universal health coverage. Okay, so you immediately apply this framework. You automatically get the points if you have some idea about this. See, why I'm talking about this is because you are writing mains, you have cleared prelims, so you have gone through all these points and you know what is it all about, at least some facts and things you know. Just you need to fit into this. Whatever facts which you know, all you need to do now is just to fit into this. You get different dimensions, you get different perspectives, you are not missing anything, and you get that flow, you get that coherence, and you get that order. So that is the idea. Okay, so you follow the same approach. You talk about the planning of the scheme, data of poor, hospital empanelment and all these things, especially in this question. And then you talk about targeting the beneficiary criteria, so who's going to get benefit of the schemes and everything. And the delivery, the technology related aspects, the infrastructure, the health card distribution aspects and everything you can discuss. And then the usage like awareness, hospital usage, statistics and everything you can mention. So solid 6-7 points are already there with you. Any government scheme related questions. Okay, so that's the advantage of this template. Now, see, this is something which is very common. You can go for high probability questions. We know certain areas they are going to ask questions this year, so it is highly like rated that these are the areas that they are going to cover. So we will be preparing that intro and conclusion because you don't want to think too much. You see that question related to that particular topic, you will be starting with that introduction and you will also have a conclusion. So that saves the time, that will give that initial, the first impression also when you start with a very good, introduction, right? For example, you get questions like Indo-Pak topics or internal security issues related questions. You go with blood and water cannot flow together. Then science and tech related question, AI is the future. You can get so much of, I'm just giving you one couple of examples. I have more quotes also, but we don't have the time to discuss that. I just show you those quotes. You can take a snapshot of it and you will be able to benefit that. So whatever quotes I felt something which is very important that I've taken, so I'll be showing you here. I will not be discussing that as we have time limitation, but you can take a snapshot and you can use the same because these are highly relevant, the ones which I'm going to show you now. Okay. So this will help you to save maximum time because you will keep thinking about intros and conclusion. But once you have this intros and conclusion, so that saves your time. But you will be looking at the high probability topics. So you'll be preparing that. And what I mean by, so these quotes I'll give you, KC-WAR and Sarkariya Commission, very important especially for your governance, and then Sociology, right? Talk about constitutional values and federal balanced references we can mention when questions are coming in that way. You used to get one question related to that area. And then the governor should act as representative of the whole state, not a party. These are common topics. So governor state issue, this year it will be there in Kerala, next year it will be there in Tamil Nadu. So you are expecting this question anyway. Okay, so let's look at some of the quotes. As I've mentioned, you can just take a snapshot of it. So like for one example that I've taken from science and technology topic is, if it is connected to AI or science and technology, you can do something like this. Artificial intelligence is not just a future, it is a present, transforming every domain from governance to defense. Okay, so there's a progressive and futuristic tone for answers on AI, emerging technology, like that. Similarly, this is related to internal security. So this is actually showing that strong diplomatic relation when you're using this kind of statement, and that make a sharp introduction, high impact introduction also. Okay, especially related to India, Pakistan. So these are statements which you can take snapshots where you can, so this is something which you can use in the conclusion as KC-WAR rightly described. Towards the end you will be writing, so this is how you can conclude. As he rightly described, India is a quasi-federal nation, strong at the center yet cooperative at the core. Okay, so here continuation, the spirit of cooperative federalism must guide our constitutional functioning. So these are very important, very good statements which I have felt. And then if you look at this, you can use it either for introduction or conclusion. Take a snapshot of it and you can read it later. So this is a couple of statements from a constitutional expert, as I have mentioned. India is a quasi-federal state with a strong unitary bias. You can use in answers on center-state relations, federalism related questions, nature of Indian constitution related questions. Right. Similarly, the Indian constitution establishes a system which is neither purely federal nor purely unitary, but a combination of both. Similar type of questions you'll be able to use that. Again, Sarkaria Commission, couple of statements, you can take a snapshot of it. Okay, so federalism is more a matter of administrative practice rather than constitutional machinery. In fact, they'll give you the statement and they'll ask you to comment on that. So anyway, you're familiar with it, so that's the idea. Again, Solicitor Sorabji, former Attorney General of India. You can take a snapshot of this again. Cool. So now, so we are done with that. We are done with two approaches. One, that PDTU, that's for the government schemes, and for the high probability topics, we will be preparing that intro and the conclusion, so that that area will also be covered with some kind of easy, convenience, right? Now, if you look at previous year questions, then next, see, PYQs, they won't repeat exactly the same way the question, but the themes they will ask, the similar themes they will ask, right? So here, what we can do is, what we need to do, you look at the previous year questions, especially from the static area, especially from the syllabus, and you will come to know that the core themes and the high probable dimensions. So every year, if you look at this, Indian constitution in other countries, they used to ask this question. So this is one theme. They'll ask you a comparison. There is a topic in your GS paper too. So they will ask comparison, India, UK, India, USA, like that, right? So France, Australia, Canada, Japan. So here, when you look at it, the core, I have given another table also, so that it will be more clear to you. So what comparison you can make: the way president is elected, the parliament supremacy, and then federalism or unitary, judiciary, you talk about electoral system, fundamental rights. These are the areas that you can cover over there to make a comparison. Now, as I told you, the questions won't repeat, but what repeat is the theme. So once you know that they are asking is, if you look at it, last 7-8 years, they are asking questions related to the comparison of constitution. So that's something which you already know. Now, it is not necessary that you need to read everything, but core areas if you take, and once you have that idea about that, what are the core areas? So here, these are the areas that we were talking about, right? And these are the most commonly asked ones. Referred nations, when it comes to our constitution, when we make any kind of comparison, these are the common ones. So you can look at that, and this is the comparisons that we need to know. So when it comes to, these are the different dimensions where you will prepare, right? President, parliament, federalism. So president, the kind of election, the powers, impeachment. So you need to make a comparison between different countries, India versus that country. Parliament, whether bicameral, unicameral legislature, the strength of legislature. When it comes to federalism, strong versus cooperative, right? And then make a comparison, or it is dual. So you will be able to make that comparison on that dimension. Judiciary, independence of judiciary, judicial review, activism. These are the dimensions. So the idea is, once you know that these are the dimensions that we need to discuss, then automatically you just need to fit into that, because all these areas you have covered when you prepared for prelims, right? From this, the directive principle is borrowed from here, fundamental right is borrowed from here, parliament supremacy, and all these things you have already prepared when you have done with your prelims. So it's very easy if you know that these are the dimensions which I need to write. Then the electoral system, the attorney general, like role and independence, compare with others, speaker, vice president. So if you know this much dimension, then you are done. Prelims, you may need to know more, but if you look at this is the beauty, right? You just need to know this much. And if you have some idea, you just need to write one line, and you're done with the comparison part. So now you know that structure, right? Assume that you're getting this question, compare Indian parliamentary system with that of UK. So here you need to make a specific one, parliamentary system, that of UK. So you need to highlight the key difference. So you can talk about, now it's very easy, right? UK has parliamentary sovereignty, there is no written constitution. India follows constitutional supremacy with judicial review, and then, so all these are there in our structure. So you know all these. So it's just a matter of, reproduction. Something which we already know, it's very easy to reproduce, right? If you follow that structure. So the UK speaker is politically neutral. Indian speaker may resign from party, but controversies. Again, Indian president is nominal head, similar to UK's monarch. So don't you think that you can do this in 7-8 minutes easily, once I have the structure, once I know what all things I need to write, rather than thinking at that point of time what I'm going to write if this question comes, because these are pre-prepared, these are common themes, these are common areas from their asking questions. So high probability, we are prepared, these are the areas that I need to cover and I know the points for that. So that's how it has to be dealt with. So I think we are done with 3 types. Now, for example, couple of other predictable themes like role of civil services in democracy, then the comparison of fundamental rights and DPSPs, challenges in federalism. These are predictable areas, right? Again, governor's role and the controversies, constitutional amendments and basic structure, women-centric legislation and gender justice. I think I've gone so far into GS paper 2, but there are similar, repeated and predictable themes in paper 1, paper 3 also. Identify that. Now, so 3 techniques, 3 strategies we have discussed. PDTU we have done, and then the intro, conclusion things we have done, and then previous year questions analysis and getting that important themes and getting prepared with that is done. Now, what you need to do is, if you have 3 hours, divide this 3 hours into 6 slots. Okay, each slot is like 30 minutes. So this 3 hours you will be dividing into 6 30-minute slots, and this is how you will be looking into time. 10 marker, you go with 7 minutes, 15 marker, 10, 11 minutes, and ethics case studies, you take 13, 14 minutes. And in case, if you are taking 1 minute extra for any 7 marker, that you need to adjust with any of that. So that's the way you need to plan, simple. So why you need to divide is because by 30 minutes, you should be knowing to what extent, whether I have covered at least 4 questions or not in the first 30 minutes. So even if I have covered only 4 questions, I am still lagging behind 2 minutes that I need to adjust in the next 30-minute slot. So in the next 30-minute slot, I will try to attempt 4.5, right? So, and by that 30 minutes, I should be completing at least 80 questions for sure. So that's how I need to, plan my time, my slots. So for that, we need rigorous preparation, rigorous answer writing. Now it's very easy to tell all these things, and it's very easy to read also, it's very easy to retain also, but it's very difficult to write things in that time. That is why these are important, these strategies, these techniques. Even the way you use the pen is also important, the weight of the pen, because ultimately you are writing with your hands. At one point it will be very painful also. So if you start writing now itself, and if you have that experience, then that problem won't be there. Okay, so 1-pager notes which you can make for quick revision for the important topics which you know that this year this is a question which you're going to get. So make a 1-pager note with 6-7 points from that, 6-7 most important points from that you should be in a position to reproduce. See, when it comes to mains, the most important strategy is prepare less, read more and revise more. Read 1 book 5 times. When it comes to prelims, read 5 books 1 time, because maximum you need to cover. You see everything in options and you just need to recollect the moment you see that. Somewhere you read, you can recollect because answers are directly there in front of you. But here you need to reproduce. So you keep revising, that's very important. I tell you how you're going to do that revisions in the coming session. Maybe we need to do 6-7 revisions for each of the topics in the syllabus. So we'll give a schedule for that. We'll go according to that plan also. Okay, so cool guys. Again, this is my point, 1-pager for this, any topic that you see, just have 1-pager quickly. So why it is going to help you is you will quickly look into that and you will be able to connect it easily. Especially if you have written on your handwriting 1-page note with 6-7 points on each of these topics. Like for example, I have given you the comparison with other constitution. I have in fact given 7 points over there. So that is a 7 point which is required. Just write 1-point notes. 1-page note. Make 7 points in that 1 page, right? So it's going to help you a lot when it comes to revision, and that saves a lot of time, that help you in retention. Of course, this is very important, like diagrams. That again help you to save a lot of time. Instead of, let's say you need to write 2 pages. 1 page you can fill with the diagram also, like that, you write an introduction and then you go with a flow chart where you can explain, analysis part, the factual parts and everything. And then after that, you go with the critical evaluation part. There you can write. So it is content full also and saving time also. Because when you're writing the flow chart, you'll write a point, go with like an arrow. So write another point, go with an arrow, write another point. So this is a flow chart, right? So 1 page is filled with that. And then the other page, you'll be going for the analysis, the critical evaluation part, suggestions, reforms, and other things. Everything else you have mentioned, I'll show you some example. So for example, you get a question, how FDI lead to economic growth and development. Question could be related to FDI, but just I'm explaining how FDI is positive. After that, I can go with the critical evaluation and everything. So the flowchart will be like FDI inflows that lead to capital infusion and increased investment in the infrastructure and industries, right? That is really good for the country, and technology transfer, innovation, that's again good. So this arrow should be coming here like this, okay? So this is how I'm getting it connected. So this is how I'll be connecting. That lead to employment generation, that lead to skill development and higher productivity, and that lead to, you know, exports, higher exports. So once the export is higher, that lead to forex reserve and higher GDP growth, overall economic development. So see beautifully, how beautifully you connected everything. FDI inflows ultimately lead to overall economic development. How it is connected with forex, and how it is going to, you know, solve the rupee depreciation problem. Okay. Similarly, one more example if I want to. Key features of right to education. So you get a question related to right to education, but first what you need to do, you need to write the key features. Then after writing that in the first part, then you'll be going for critical evaluation, analysis, suggestions, reforms, and all those parts. So how about you writing like this and covering each and everything? I'm sure that you may not be able to write all these points, but at least 5-6 points you can write in this flow chart. It will do good, it will look good also. Cool. So right to education, and then free and compulsory education for children is, you're talking about the provisions and other things, and then 25% reservation in private schools for children from EWS and disadvantaged groups, people teacher ratio norms, talk about that, and no capitation fee, no screening procedures, infrastructure norms like toilets, classrooms, drinking water, playgrounds, right? So you just showing everything in the flow chart. So this help you to save time. At the same time, you are convincing the examiner. It is not that you are doing something, you are saving time, but the other person is not understanding, right? He is understanding that you know the things, you know the content, and you have everything, and you are doing it in this way so that you are helping that person to understand things faster and easier, rather than keep on reading to the entire paragraphs. So the advantage is you saved your time, you mention every points, and you have shown it in a flow chart. So this leads all these points. So the first part is done, one page is done. Now look into the next page. There you go with analysis, reforms. So this is filled with facts. Okay, so all these things will work as I told you when you start writing answers from today itself. You take a couple of questions, daily at least 2 questions you start writing, and you need to start the test series also. And we have the test series, you can get in touch with us, and we will be directly mentoring you. So in case if you are interested, you can get in touch with us. But see again, if you are someone who's going to start writing, you may take 30 minutes, 35 minutes to complete one answer, and you won't get that satisfaction. Right, that is the reason why we are giving that template. So once you have the template, and once you know this is, ultimately you don't want to perfect your answer. It's impossible. You cannot perfectly write an answer. You make it as the best which is possible for you. Try to finish it in the time. That's what most important. Whether you can finish 7 points in 7 minutes is what ultimately matters. You cannot be a perfectionist once it comes to mains. You cannot write in a very good handwriting. You cannot write every points in a chronology, proper order. No, that's not what matters. Convey your knowledge. As much as possible, bring that flow and coherence. As much as possible, bring all the points which is required. As much as possible, bring those dimensions. For that, the templates will help you. Don't try to be a perfectionist. So you will start writing the answer, you will see that there's a problem that you're actually facing. You will try to be a perfectionist, and you're gonna take 30-35 minutes, even 20-25 minutes once you improve to write an answer. But if you don't change that mindset, your mains is not for you. So you need to change the mindset that you cannot be a perfectionist. Keep writing it, and then over a period of time, then you will realize that this is what is required. If you are going to write during that time, then your perfectionist mindset will be there with you. You'll not be able to do it in mains. Okay, ultimately what matters is completing the paper with maximum points. That's why these techniques, these templates are going to help you. So what we need is consistency. From here, today onwards, you'll be start writing answers, at least 2 answers a day, and try to be in that time, try to follow the templates also, and you keep improving day by day. Every day you will improve. So it's not that tomorrow I prepare everything and I'll start writing answer. You cannot do that. So you need to, your mind has to synchronize with your hands, right? So it takes time. So this is I told you as in the beginning itself, this is the mains phase. So you are into that phase. So the the writing have to start from here. Okay. So guys, whatever we discussed, this strategies you can use from today itself, and is going to help you immense when it comes to your mains preparation, your answer writing also. Save your time and help you to convey all the important points in the time limit which is already there. Okay, so the thing that I want to tell you is practice and prepare the predictable themes which we have discussed, and revise it again and again. Use the templates, diagram, automatically you will get the speed, you will be able to save the time also. So that's all what I want to discuss. In case if any one of you are interested in any mentorship program or test series or anything, get in touch with us. So the details are given in the description. So see you guys. Thank you so much.